Picture this. You wake up one morning and everything feels the same. The coffee tastes the same, the streets look the same, even her laugh echoes the same as it always did. And yet something has shifted. You feel it before you see it. A subtle distance, a pause in her voice that wasn't there before, a glance that lingers just a second too long, then drifts away. You ask yourself, did I do something wrong? Did I say something wrong? And you scramble to find an answer that doesn't exist. Because here's the truth most men never hear. The moment a woman begins to test you is the moment she's afraid to lose you. Not consciously, not maliciously, but deep in her instincts, deep in the chemistry her brain cannot control, she's assessing your strength. She wants to know if you can remain steady while the ground shifts. She wants to see if you crumble when she pulls back, if your value is borrowed from her affection, or if it comes from inside. And if you don't understand this, if you panic, if you over-explain, if you chase clarity, you give away the very thing she's trying to measure. I remember the first time I faced it. A small disagreement, nothing serious, and yet her energy changed. The warmth was still there, but it was guarded, testing. And I reacted. I leaned in, I reassured, I tried to fix it. And each time I did, I lost ground I didn't even realize I had. I wasn't weak, I was unaware. I thought effort was enough to keep love alive. I thought caring harder meant holding tighter. But desire, attraction, respect, none of it responds to effort. They respond to presence, to steadiness, to a man who can stand alone without fear. And that's the bitter truth. Love isn't a sanctuary, it's a battlefield. And every test she gives you isn't cruelty, it's verification. It's biology, hardwired, dopamine and cortisol signaling in her body, assessing, calibrating, measuring. The moment you realize that, the moment you stop fighting the test, stop trying to control it, stop giving away your center, is the moment you begin to reclaim power. So if you're watching this, if you felt the shift, the distance, the subtle coldness creeping in, listen closely. You are not losing her because you're inadequate. You are losing her because your foundation isn't solid. And what I'm about to tell you isn't about pleading, arguing, or explaining. It's about becoming the man who cannot be shaken, the man who can stand still while the storm tests everything around him. Because the moment you truly understand this, that emotional sovereignty is more powerful than love itself, is the moment the tests either end or reveal what was never yours to begin with. I used to believe that love was something you secured by consistency, by showing up, by staying open. I believed that if I removed all uncertainty, all doubt, all tension, then love would have no reason to leave. But what I didn't understand, what most men don't understand, is that certainty does not create desire. Strength does, and strength is not proven in comfort, it is proven under pressure. When she first changed, I blamed myself. I replayed conversations in my head. I searched for the mistake, the wrong word, the wrong tone, the wrong moment. I thought something had broken, but nothing had broken. Something had begun the moment she started to care deeply. Her instincts woke up, and instincts don't ask politely, they test. The tests never announce themselves. They arrive disguised as confusion, as mood swings, as distance that doesn't make sense. One day she's warm, the next day she's distant. One day she needs you, the next day she questions you. And if you don't understand what's happening, you interpret it as danger. You move closer, you talk more, you explain yourself. You try to stabilize something that was never unstable, and in doing so, you slowly dismantle your own position. What I know now is this. Every woman tests the man she values, not because she enjoys conflict, not because she wants to hurt him, but because her nervous system needs proof. Proof that this man can carry weight. Proof that he can remain himself when the emotional weather changes. Proof that he doesn't collapse when validation is removed. This is biological, hardwired, programmed long before language. Her brain chemistry responds to stability the same way the body responds to shelter. Dopamine rises in uncertainty. Cortisol rises when she senses imbalance. And when a man reacts emotionally to every fluctuation, her system doesn't feel protected. It feels responsible. And the moment a woman feels responsible for a man's emotional state, attraction begins to die. I didn't know that. I thought reassurance was love. I thought emotional availability meant safety. I thought explaining myself showed maturity. But attraction doesn't listen to explanations. It watches behavior. It observes how you move when the ground shifts. It studies whether your center is internal or borrowed. When, s- when she pulled away, I leaned in. When she questioned me, I defended myself. When she tested my patience, I lost it. I thought I was fighting for the relationship, but what I was really doing was failing an exam I didn't know I was taking. Every reaction was a signal. Every over-explanation was a leak. Every emotional spike told her nervous system the same thing. This man is stable only when I am stable. And no one feels safe building a future on that. This is the brutal part men are never prepared for. Women don't leave when they're angry. They leave when they're convinced. When the tests stop, when the arguments disappear, when the questions end. That isn't peace. That is detachment. That is the moment her system has already decided. The battlefield goes quiet not because you won, but because the outcome is no longer in doubt. I remember that silence. I mistook it for relief. I thought things were finally calming down. But silence after testing is not comfort, it's distance, and distance is where endings quietly grow. The hardest truth to swallow is this: I didn't lose because I lacked love. I lost because I lacked emotional sovereignty. I made her my center, I made her reactions determine my stability. I handed over my frame and called it devotion. And devotion without self-control is not strength, it's exposure. No one tells men that love is asymmetric, that whoever invests first often loses leverage, that emotional attachment shifts power, whether you like it or not. And power doesn't mean cruelty, it means grounding. It means the ability to remain calm while someone else is uncertain. It means not chasing clarity when clarity is being withheld on purpose. When a woman tests you, she is not asking, "Do you love me?" She is asking, "Can you stand without me? Can you remain composed when affection fluctuates? Can you regulate yourself without external reassurance? Can you stay present without becoming dependent?" These questions are never spoken, they are felt, and feelings don't negotiate. I failed because I thought being chosen required effort. What it actually requires is presence, wait, stillness. A man who does not rush to fill silence, who does not panic when energy shifts, who does not try to win back what has not yet been lost. That man communicates safety without words. His calm becomes the answer. This doesn't mean becoming cold, it doesn't mean withdrawing emotionally. It means being centered, warm but not needy, available but not desperate, engaged but not shaken. Masculine control is not force, it is restraint. It is choosing not to react when reaction would cost you ground. I see it now with clarity that only loss can teach. The tests were never the enemy, they were the invitation. An invitation to rise into emotional mastery. An invitation to become immovable. And I declined, not because I was weak, but because I was uninformed. But knowledge changes everything. Now I understand that love does not remove tests, it creates them. The more valuable you become, the more pressure you will face, not as punishment, but as verification. And the man who survives that pressure without losing himself becomes rare. And rare things are respected, rare things are protected, rare things are not tested forever. So if you're listening to this and you're confused, if her behavior feels inconsistent, if the ground feels unstable, do not panic, do not chase, do not explain, stand still, breathe, return to yourself. Because the moment you stop outsourcing your stability, the test changes. And when a man finally becomes his own anchor, the world around him either aligns or reveals itself. Either way, he wins. Stay calm when the ground shakes. That sounds simple, but it's the hardest thing a man will ever learn. Because when things start to change, when warmth turns into distance, when certainty turns into doubt, every instinct inside you tells you to move, to fix, to speak, to explain. Your mind searches for control, your heart searches for reassurance. And if you're not careful, you give both away in the same moment. What I've learned is this: emotional storms don't destroy men, reactions do. The man who panics when energy shifts teaches the world that his stability is borrowed. The man who rushes to explain teaches the world that his value is negotiable. And the man who chases clarity in chaos quietly admits that he cannot stand in uncertainty. None of this makes you weak. It makes you human. But it does make you predictable. And predictability is where power fades. You don't need to be louder. You don't need to be colder. You don't need to prove anything. Control is not aggression. Control is restraint. It's the ability to remain grounded while everything around you tries to pull you out of yourself. It's the discipline to sit in silence without filling it with fear, because silence, when chosen, is not absence. It's presence without dependency. Most men think strength is effort, that if they care, try harder, explain better, love deeper, they will be chosen. But attraction doesn't respond to effort. It responds to stability. To a man who does not collapse when validation is removed. To a man who does not outsource his self-worth to another person's mood. When you need reassurance to feel whole, you hand someone else the authority over your center, and no one respects what they have to carry. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The tests don't stop because you win arguments or say the right things. They stop when you stop reacting, when your nervous system stays calm while others fluctuate, when you remain warm but unmoved, present but not dependent. That's when the pressure changes. That's when respect replaces evaluation. And if it doesn't, if they still leave, then understand this clearly. What walked away was not meant to stand next to a grounded man anyway. A man who controls himself never loses. He either keeps what aligns with him, or he sheds what cannot. Both outcomes are victories, because his strength is no longer conditional. His peace is no longer rented. His value is no longer debated. So don't chase understanding. Become solid enough that understanding comes to you. Don't fear silence. Learn to sit inside it without shrinking. Don't explain your worth. Live it so consistently that explanation becomes unnecessary. And when the world tests you, because it will, stand still, breathe, return to yourself. That's where your power has always been.